spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God. Then he goes into the 10 Commandments. So he's arranged for these people to come and hear him because they've not done what he wants. So he wants to reassure them, here's what I'm expecting. I want to be close to you. When he's done giving them the 10 Commandments, look at chapter 20, verse 18. And all the people saw the thunderings, and the lightnings, and the noise of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed, they ran away, and stood afar off. Now here's the thing. When Moses comes by, they say this to him, listen. And they said unto Moses, speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not God speak to us, lest we die. Listen, Moses, we're fine obeying God, but we don't want to talk to him. Let him stay there, and we'll stay here. You come and tell us what to do, and we'll do that. And to this day, we do this thing. Where our relationship with God, we want to do it through a pastor. Or we want to do it through a preacher. Or we want to do it through the church. Or we'll do it through a little prayer group. And when we're not there in front of the pastor, the preacher, the prayer group, we are not connected with God. God who accepts you, believes in you, and is equipped to make you better. A personal God. We put a distance between us and him. Here are the children of God, getting the 10 Commandments that we as a church tout. That we obey the 10 Commandments. It speaks about how to treat God and how to treat people. We're proud of it when people ask, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. We say it without pause. But when God spoke this, his own voice, they were so terrified, they didn't even get the spirit of it. They said to Moses, we will do what you say. We will obey the law. Just keep this guy far from us. They didn't get it then. 700 years later, or starting text, Isaiah 1:18. Turn back to that. 700 years later, they still did not understand. And God assumes a different tactic here. He says, I can't come with thundering and lightning. I can't come with fire and the smoke. Let me talk to them more soothingly. Let me try a more personal approach. And here's what he says. Knowing that they aren't where they're supposed to be, he has an invitation for them. Come now, let us reason together. I'm struck by the first word because God could have said, I want to talk to you, listen to me. But he says, come. He says, come. If God has to say come to you, that means you are not where God wants you to be. He's calling you to himself. He says, come. Come now. Now, urgency. Come now, where you are. With your faults, I accept you with your faults. God comes to you when you're still drinking. He comes to you when you're still smoking. He comes to you in the midst of your use of profanity. He doesn't matter where you are. He says, come. And he alters this invitation with one word, with a sense of urgency. Now, I know how long you've been where you are. Come now. You don't have time to waste. Come now. Now, when I speak to my children and I want to get their attention, they're going in the wrong way, I shout, stop, wait, no, come back. And often, if they're really running into danger, I am unable to go where they are to pull them back from where they are. But not my God. God can be in heaven and be with you at the same time. So this invitation to come isn't for you to go where he is physically. It's almost an invitation. Set aside some time for me. Come and set aside some time where outside of the preacher preaching, outside of the prayer meeting, you and I can get to know each other. The text goes there. It says, come now, let us reason. I ask you who you reason with. Do you reason with a man on the street who you don't know? You may say hello. You may say, oh, it's a good day. You may speak about something that's happening in the news, but that's talk. Reasoning is when I can disagree with you and you can disagree with me. We can hash it out. God is saying, come to me so that we can have a real good talk. I'm concerned about what you're doing, but I want to hear from you. Are you concerned about what I'm not doing for you? Are you concerned about your perspective of the world? Are you concerned about what's happening in your church? Are you concerned about your health? Let me know. Tell me. Here I am, a personal God. He wants to be able to listen to you. He wants you to listen to him. This is an exchange, even exchange, whereby he laughs with you. He cries with you. He celebrates with you. A friend, someone who accepts you as you are, but believes in you so much that he's willing to listen to everything that you have to say. Even when you can't share your dreams with others, you can share them with God. Can you ever get to the point where everything that you're thinking of doing, you ask God about it? You know, my wife has grown over maybe the last 6 or 7 years really close to her mother. I can make a couple of guarantees. Before I leave the house, they're on the phone. When I get back in the house, they're on the phone. If no one's on the phone and the phone rings, I give it to her because I know it's going to be her mother, and they're on the phone. They've bonded. They can't do without each other. And I wonder, can we have the same relationship with Christ? Where no matter what we are doing, we say, God, you know what? I'm thinking about this thing. The problem we have is that we want to do what God's will is. But we won't, and we'll speak to him about the things we will do for him. Oh, we'll speak about going and giving out tracts. We'll speak about telling somebody about Jesus, but we won't talk to him about the sin we're contemplating. That's our problem, where we are. What if you were to speak to God like you would a friend? You know, I'm just getting this feeling, God. I'm thinking about this thing. I might do this thing. What do you think about that? I mean, really, treat God like a friend. What do you think about that? But we don't do this because we know what God is going to say. Or we assume we know what God is going to say. God wants you to treat him as a friend. He said, let us reason together. There are times he will have something to say to you. And there are times he's waiting for you to say something to him, so that he can understand where you are. In the Gospels, Christ makes mention, he says, in that day, when the Son of Man comes in the clouds, many, many will call on his name. And I will say, I never knew you. Because you never gave me a chance to have a relationship with you, where I understood where you were coming from. I understood your heart. Oh, I know of you, but I never knew you. You know, it reminds me of the young girls in school. It scares me now. Maybe my oldest daughter is around this age, where these young girls will see a boy they like. They'll tell everybody, I'm in love with Chris. And let's say Chris's name is Alan. And she'll write her name. Her name is now Alan. It's her last name. All throughout her book, everybody knows she's in love with Chris. She's never said a word to Chris. She takes his neck.